Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, aka my favorite new Avenger. She was an Air Force pilot transformed into a practically invulnerable cosmic Avenger. Captain Marvel doesn't just clean up problems on Earth. She cleans up problems across the galaxy.
What's up?
I am one Marcus Flowers, aka one Marcus Flowers, on all social media platforms, and I am joined by my co-host.
You know who it is? Metro Meta, the Oracle, Momo Flowers. Let's get to it.
And this is a special edition of the Super Flow Bro podcast, and it's something that we've always wanted to do, but we just haven't had the time, or not just we haven't had the time to come up with it. But now that we have our own platform where we can put out type of content like this that we've always wanted to put out, we can get into it. So now this is going to be a Captain Marvel trailer reaction one shot that we're going to do. So Morgan, I'll start with you first. How did you feel about the trailer overall?
All right. I have a little bit of a hot take here. I think it looks great. That being said, it looks like another Marvel movie.
We'll get to that in a bit. But what was good about it to you? What did you like about it?
So the action looks solid. She looked like a great Captain Marvel. Looks great. You know, as many of you guys might know, Miss Marvel Kamala Khan's one of my favorite superheroes. So I'm very invested in this movie. I like the suit. I like the action. I like the powers. I like how much they nailed being back in the what is it? Take place in the 90s?
Yeah, it takes place in the early '90s.
Yeah, they had like Blockbuster Video. I'm hoping to see a lot more like little Easter eggs sprinkled through there, a couple Tamagotchis, you know, stuff like that. But I feel like they're nailing the time period. It is gonna be fun to see the origin of many of the most important characters. You know, we're seeing the origin of Nick Fury. He seems to be like a beat cop on the run. We've seen the origin of Agent Coulter and like just sort of how you get into Shield. And I am interested to see how they're going to tie this back into the MCU to explain where she's been for the past couple years.
Yeah, definitely. The only my only well, first of all, let me just get into what I liked. I definitely liked how it is set place in the '90s, and it has a certain type of like 1990s feel with the beepers and the blockbuster. I really like that. The action when it comes to Marvel movies, actions has never been a type of I've never worried about the action in a Marvel movie. So that looks good. Her photon beams looked amazing. I liked how I liked how she punched the scroll. That was a super scroll. That was interesting. I really do like
Don't punch old ladies.
one of the marvelous things, no pun intended, that I really have just been um, pretty amazed by when it comes to the MCU is their access to de aging technology. Just how like they made Samuel L. Jackson or Agent Nick Fury look nearly 30 years younger. How they made Nick Coulson 30 years younger. Yeah, I'm really excited for this movie just because this is it's been 10 years in the Marvel MCU, and now they're going to bring on their first female character, and it's just
The
they're
first big
yeah,
female character.
and they're positioning her.
Let's not act like Black Widow's not there
Yeah, but
or Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, but they're positioning Captain Marvel to be their version of Superman.
Which is true, which is what she is.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I just rewatched it before we got on. Another thing that I really liked. I really liked how they're. I know Marvel said that they're not doing any more origin stories, but it seems like they kind of have to do an origin story with Captain Marvel. But I really liked how they integrated how she's basically a part of the Kree Empire, kind of like she's like a Kree Empire soldier. soldier to that extent.
Warrior.
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Korean Empire warrior, and it's going to be interesting just because when it comes to Captain Marvel, the comic book character, she doesn't really have a lot of exciting content. Her best storyline was no offense was when she it was back in like 1978 when she got raped by an alien and had a child, and everybody was cool with it. That was like that was her highlight.
Wait.
Yeah.
They were not cool with it. People got mad, and
Well,
Marvel put her in the Phantom Zone for like half a decade.
yeah. Well, in that case, but also Chris Claremont tried to do a good like scolding to the writer who to the writer and editors who did that. But yeah, so you like you said, she was in a Phantom Zone for like most of the '80s, so she doesn't really have like solid. I don't want to say like solid storytelling, but just like she doesn't really have a good story to tell. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to react to a character who doesn't have a rich history.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, definitely, especially because, like, I want to say, like, I do like Miss Marvel Kamala Khan, but she focuses more on like personal stories and like herself and growing up as a person. I'm interested to see how they will portray uh this new Captain Marvel. Will they just go for the simple Marvel origin story, or do you think they're gonna go for more women empowerment, Wonder Woman type of deal?
Well, I do think I wouldn't say Marvel or women empowerment, but I do think they're putting a unique spin on the typical Marvel origin, just because Captain Marvel isn't a normal Marvel character.
Yeah, she's definitely gonna be very interesting. I'm interested to see how they balance having such a powerful individual, and also how they balance adding into the Marvel universe. Because now that you're adding the Kree into there, you're adding all of the you're adding what's her name, Moon Girl, who who's very involved with the Kree. The family, the family of this, I got canceled.
You're breaking up. Yeah, you're breaking up. Could you repeat that, Morgan?
What's the family? They live on the Ireland. They have the TV show.
Oh, the Inhumans.
Yeah, yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right. So, what did you not
Yeah.
like? Yeah, what did you not like about the trailer?
Um, it it seems more Marvel, which I know is bad, but it seems like they're getting back into the groove of doing the exact same like point for point origin story. Like if you look back, uh, Doctor Strange movie was basically just Iron Man with magic. You look at just point for point, like Age of Ultron was basically just the regular Avengers movie, only now they're robots. And it seemed like with like Black Panther and this new like stage four, we went to a different push where now we're looking at more interesting characters. The villains aren't just throwaway. And it looked like they were getting on a better track other than just being CG and pretty like, like action scenes. But this seemed very heavily like old school, like origin story Marvel.
Yeah, definitely. My biggest concern about the trailer was like the scrolls. They didn't look very scrolly to me. I know that's not a word, but they didn't really look like threats. So that's going to be a focal point. And also my biggest concern just about like Marvel movies in general is the length of the film. Just because when you go back to like when you look at like Infinity War, Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok. Like those are like super long movies, and they feel like really bloated. And even if they can cut the runtime of that by 40 minutes, I feel like it'd be excellent. But like a 2.5 hour movie about Captain Marvel, which I know she definitely deserves. It's just like they're going to run, like for me they're going to run into the same problems. Like how much story are you going to tell in this? And I know with the Marvel universe it's like a comic book. Well, it's just like this leads on to the next phase of the story. But it's just like they talked about being more self-contained in their films, which they have done with Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Spider-Man Homecoming. Even so yeah, and even Ant-Man and the Wasp was pretty contained. But my concern is just that with Captain Marvel based in the '90s, how are they going to tie it all together with it making sense? And when you asked earlier where was Captain Marvel when the Avengers were formed? Well, the Avengers handled their job, so they didn't really need Captain Marvel at the time.
But hold on, we can't just say they handled it so they didn't really need it. They destroyed most of New York, and let's not act like, because the best thing about the MCU is that it's been building on itself. You know, the original Avengers attack led into the events of Civil War, which led into the not led into the events of Captain America: Winter Soldier, which led into the events of Civil War, which led into the events of Ultron, which led into the events of Thanos getting the different stones. Like the best part about this is that they're all building on each other, but let's not stand here and act like, oh, they just handled it. Like people died, like the entire place was destroyed, like it
Exactly.
flooded
Well,
thousands of weapons.
and
They could
if
have
you
definitely used her.
okay, but like let's say they did bring in like Captain Marvel's like another heavy weapon. She's up there with Scarlet Witch and Thor as just like the strongest beings in the Avengers. So if you bring in another heavy hitter, it's going to cause even more damage, which is probably why they didn't need her.
I'm just saying that they at most have had what? Not three, four multiple different world-ending events. One of which was caused by the Avengers themselves, and nobody thought to call Captain Marvel. Not even Nick Fury. Not even once to update her and say, "Hey,
Well, in their defense, Nick Fury is a
maybe you
very
should keep an
secretive guy.
eye on people."
Yeah, Nick Fury is a very secretive guy to that extent. So I mean, like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I do get like sometimes you just want to, like, if you guys are considered like a family, you just want to handle it yourself, and so that's probably what they were trying to go for.
That's all nice. That's all well and nice until you have thousands of millions of people's lives in your hand. Okay,
Okay, but like, okay,
don't
so
act
like
like
for
you don't
example,
have
when Sokovia fell, what was Captain Marvel supposed to do? Like, what was she supposed to do when
go in hell.
help Hal, like help try to save more people? It was coming down anyway. So there's not like when we go through like the MCU history, there's not like a lot that she could have done
That was
to
never
like
planned. That was never
aided
planned.
and helped. Like when she was needed the when she's needed the most, that's when they contact her, which makes complete sense to me.
I'm just saying that if the world is falling apart not three times and not one person has even thought to call her, something's wrong with the chain of command. Something's
There,
wrong with the
but
chain
there
of
was
command.
nothing wrong
People
with the
definitely said
okay, but there was nothing wrong with the chain of command if they saved the day every time. Yes, there was collateral damage, but
there
they
was
did not need her.
a literal
Okay,
civil war.
but okay, what was she supposed to do in the Civil War? Choose a side? We all know what happened in Civil War Two.
Decide.
No, that because if she chose a side, it would not have worked. She would have been working. She would have been choosing a side of people with philosophies and dynamics she did not know. Because remember, in the trailer, she's coming back down to Earth from the Kree Empire, so she's not really familiar with the philosophies of Earth at the time. And you remember her like she has like different memories coming back to her, and different like flashes. So like she's not going to be. I don't want to discredit her at all. But like when you're coming up from like amnesia or something, you're not going to be able to deal with certain philosophical differences.
I'm just saying to call her in now, it doesn't make sense unless you think of it as a movie.
Well, see, but you're thinking of it as a movie. The MCU is based like a comic book overall, and so that's the viewpoint that you should be able to take, that you should be able to look at.
Nah, nah. It will be interesting to see how because there's no way they're just gonna say, oh, we just didn't call her, because that would be stupid.
They
They're
they
definitely gonna
they
find a way
definitely
to lock her up.
they called her when it was an Omega level event. Half the world disappeared. I feel like that's enough reason to call her.
If we're waiting for half the world to disappear for our number one fighter to come out, I feel like that's a bad idea. You don't wait till fourth quarter to call in Michael Jordan when you're behind by 200 points. You bring
Okay,
him
first
in
of
the
all, that's not
third
even
quarter
possible for a
because
team
you
to
never
score
end up like that
200
in the
points
first
in a
place.
game. No, but I'm saying you're doing like you're comparing like apples to oranges here. It's just like when you're playing chess, you don't move your queen right away. That makes you exposed. You wait until it's the perfect time to move your queen. That's what they're doing with Captain Marvel. They didn't need her until Thanos basically pulled check. And then before he called checkmate, they called the queen to help, which is Captain Marvel, which makes complete sense. Oh, Cap must have got your tongue here.
They're gonna freeze her. So she's gonna get some Captain America experience.
Nah. So anyway, another focal point that I'm excited about
No,
is her going
they
binary.
call you when
Yeah, that makes sense. But anyway, moving on.
binary.
I Yeah, like when she goes to like supernova and binary.
What do you mean by binary? Oh,
Binary. My mistake. My mistake. That I said it right. Binary. When she goes like supernova, that's going to be interesting. So, yeah, this did we talk about why we didn't? Oh yeah, we just came off of that. But yeah, so once again, Captain Marvel releases in March 2019. It actually releases on International Women's Day. This is all not by mistake. They released a trailer today because it is the anniversary of the Air Force. So there's that as well. You have anything else to add, Morgan?
uh, nope. Should we? Everybody should take a look out at the new Miss Marvel Kamala Khan. It was super great. They announced how she got her powers. Super interesting.
All right, and that's
Yeah,
still G Willow Wilson, correct? Who's writing?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So just on our schedule, so we have this is coming out on today. We're recording on Tuesday. This is coming out tomorrow's a Wednesday. We have a Metro Meta podcast dropping on Thursday, and we have a Fantastic Flow dropping on Friday. So that's a podcast every workday of the week. So if you're make sure you are liking and you're subscribing to us on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment to us on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you are liking and subscribing and commenting on Spotify. And also, we are now on
And leave
audio.
us reviews.
Yeah, leave us reviews. We definitely need them. And we are now officially on Audio Max. So check us out on there as well. And we're currently working on getting on Google Play. Hopefully by the next time you hear the Super Flow Bro podcast, we will be on there as well. So once again, make sure you are following us on all social media platforms. 26 and Glencoe Media Network on Facebook, 26 and Glencoe on Instagram, 26 and Glencoe on Twitter, and make sure you're following Morgan on Twitter at Metro Meta 2648. Until next time, peace.
See ya.
So I'm gonna highly recommend you walk away. My plane! Oh, you did not just ding up Kelly Sue. Quit breathing down my neck.